If we hadn't happened to see the Jade Chamber flying over just as we came out of the Golden House, we really wouldn't have known which... Did we make it in time? Is the Overlord of the Vortex still in the sea? It hasn't...
What are you doing here?
Huh? Hold on. It's the Adepti. What are you doing on the Jade Chamber? Paimon thought you were arguing...
Faced with a calamity of such magnitude, we have agreed to put our differences aside.
Oh, Paimon gets it. So how do you plan to defend Lila? Just seeing this Overlord of the Vortex guy puts a pit in Paimon's tummy.
It's not just you. We've got new Millilith recruits who can't even stand at attention without shaking. The force of an ancient god's presence seems to be too much for ordinary people to handle. Which is why we must stop that monster before it gets any closer to Liyue Harbor.
So the Archon War was fought 2,000 years ago against enemies like that thing? Now that's scary. So will the power of the Chising, Millilith, and Adepti gathered here be enough to stop that god?
We've already discussed this together, and our conclusion is... not necessarily.
What? But all of you were supposed to be—
One certainly could.
Huh?
The Chising did once research the matter of the Guizhong Ballista when it piqued their fancy. And as fate would have it, one who did craft the Guizhong Ballista with one's own hands is here. For what could you mortals ever learn of Adepti mechanisms? Yet, it would take one, but a little tinkering to turn this ballista into an engine of war beyond your wildest thoughts.
I suppose this is one blessing from the Adepti that we should be thankful for. So be it. We shall use the upgraded Guizhong Ballista to fight off that god. All the Adepti here can lend their strength to man it. We haven't a moment to spare. Our battle begins now.
Yep.
The three Adepti are manning the Guizhong Ballista. Do not let the Fatui disturb their work!
All able Millilith, with me!
Let's go help too!
We Adepti have not faced a god in several millennia. Let one see what you're made of then. What strength remains within you? What wishes to witness?
Time to fulfill my duty.
Huh?
Not taking a sweat from my work.
Looks like I went too far. Who's this?
Everybody stand back!
I miscalculated. That is Osial's divine power. I am Be careful not to get hit.
Leave it all to me.
The Fatui! Their attacks are unrelenting!
How daring. Snezhnai's diplomats will answer for this afterward. Every last one.
Freeze!
As a dutiful maid would.
No slacking off!
The ancient god's attacking again! There are so many Fatui too! We kill them!
Breaking a sweat!
Were you about to say we can't hold them, children?
Huh?
It isn't time for break yet!
Don't lose heart. Here, take this.
This is mental energy! That light from your body, it's like the time in Julian Cars! Wow! It's Madame Bean's shockwave! This granny's really strong!
Not breaking a sweat!
This is
Everybody stand back!
Try not to enjoy this too much.
See through you! Looks like I went too far.
Let's light it up!
My duty at an end.
Yeah! With the blood of the Chilean, I guard you against evil! Cast your fear of injury by the wayside, and fight with all your might! I too did this during the Archon War!
So this is what Ganya's like in a fight!
My name means swiftness. Take my power and run as I do.
We're going too fast!
Leave it all to me.
Strong in body and spirit. Perhaps you can withstand 3 forms of adeptal energy at once.
This will hurt a little. Please bear with us.
Once you've adapted, try to use them in battle.
Cold cut! Run!
Everybody stand back!
Breaking a sweat!
Look at me.
My duty
Adventure time. Let's spark this frostbite.
I'm going in!
Exercise caution. I fear that the god's power has reached its peak.
In other words, if we hold here, there's nothing worse to come, right?
It's working! We just need to keep this up!
Be careful now.
The Guizhong Ballista is destroyed. Without its covering fire, retaliation shall be difficult.
But the Jade Chamber is our last line of defense. We can't give another inch, no matter what.
I have another idea.
What do you mean, Lady Ningguang?
I'll sacrifice the Jade Chamber.
What is the meaning of this?
I understand.
Traveler, lend me a hand. Farewell, old friend. Goodbye for now. Let us meet again in the future.
Is it finally over?
The ominous aura of that monster has indeed begun to fade. The effects of the Sigil of Permission last but a short time. It will be some time before the Overlord of the Vortex can make any waves again.
We are indebted to you for your assistance. If the Adepti hadn't happened to be here, the future of Liyue Harbor would surely have been in great jeopardy.
Save your flattery. We didn't just happen to be here. Surely you won't pretend to have forgotten the reason for which we came.
Come now. There's no need for such harsh words, Cloud Retainer. I've heard that when Ningguang began learning to do business, she had already started setting aside part of her then limited income in preparation for building the Jade Chamber. At first, it was only the size of a small room, but with continued expansion, it has become the palace that lies before you now. It is a testament to Ningguang's entire life, both as a businesswoman and as the backbone of the Liyue Qixing. Seeing the Jade Chamber destroyed in the defense of Liyue means much to her. To me, such cooperation and sacrifice deserves at least some recognition, don't you agree?
Well, I was really hoping you would say that such sacrifice could at least be used as some leverage in our negotiations. Thank you all for hearing me out. We know very well why the Adepti came here.
Oh?
3,700 years. According to our records, the Adepti signed a contract with Rex Lapis to protect Liyue 3,000. Even to this very day, Liyue and its lands have stood the test of time, immovable. But that does not mean that the Liyue of today is the same city as it was all those years ago. Do not merely cast your protective gaze upon the land. Instead, focus your sights on our city and each of the citizens that...
Are you questioning our means of protecting Liyue?
I mean no offense. I simply hope that our Adepti forebears would see Liyue in a new light.
Forebears, you say? What?
This morning, Rex Lapis appeared to me in a dream.
What?
In the dream, I yearned to tell him that we Qixing, though mortal, are equally bound to the contract. I also thought to tell him how the past generations of Qixing, but I dared not speak. I could only gaze at him in silence until the moment I awoke.
Oh, Ningguang.
Yet another perspective. What are you trying to say, Outlander?
Right! That's something that happened in Mondstadt. It's a story about the Four Winds and the people of the Animal Archon. The Animal Archon sought to quell the strife between the two sides, because he believed that such...
Each of the 7 nations has its own scars from the past.
Though your point is the very height of simplicity. As Adepti, we've become a laughingstock, to be chastised thus by an outlander who has lent us such succor.
All right, all right. Didn't Ningguang suggest that we should focus on the city and each...
I apologize for appearing in full armor. I am afraid I cannot show the proper courtesies.
And who are you?
I am Feng Yan, a sergeant of the Millilith. I have come to extend my thanks to the Adepti. I thought this battle would perhaps be my last. But thanks to the aid of the Adepti, our fort, although I am a mere mortal soldier, I promise to hold the line and never betray.
Huh? Why does everyone look so down? Didn't we just beat that big monster?
Weren't you frightened, dear? It was quite the predicament.
I wasn't afraid. All the strong Millilith guards were there, and those powerful heroes with their visions were there. Everyone was there. When danger is near, everyone always protects me. And the rest of the time, they make fun. Thanks for protecting Liyue Harbor.
Unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to participate.
Huh?
Because we are Adepti.
Oh, okay. It must be hard being an Adeptus. Aww.
You see, this is what Liyue is. The country of contracts is grateful to the Adepti for their protection. But although their blood is weak, there is still the time of contracts between gods and Liyue has long since passed. Now is the time of contracts between Liyue.
Seeing the port around us now, it is hard not to feel a bit out of place. Wouldn't you?
Your line of inquiry is askew. One did not spearhead this.
Seems like the Adepti have had a change of heart.
Let us return now.
Eager to leave, conqueror of demons.
Yes, one understands what the conqueror of demons means. The city of Liyue has changed much after our long separation. One fears that by the time one finally grasps the new contracts of Liyue, you humans would have once again changed the place beyond recognition. Fair enough. Away we shall, and return whence we came.
Since we Adepti have consensus, then one shall persist no further. But how will we ensure that the Liyue Qixing will not simply exploit their power once we depart? In my view, that is still a thing to be guarded against.
All right, Mooncarver, you needn't worry. It seems to me that this right of supervision is best left to the people of Liyue.
Looks like the conflict between humans and Adepti was avoided. Oh, right! It's nice that we've got Child wanted to unleash the god, but we were able to handle the Overlord of the Vortex on our own. So Rex Lapis never showed up. Oh, and speaking of that, don't we still need to get to the bottom of that Archon's death too?
Is there anything I can do for you two? I'm afraid that Wangsheng funeral parlor isn't in the best state to receive guests.
We've come to see Zhongli. Could you please tell him we're here?
Unfortunately, Zhongli isn't here at the moment. It seems he went to Northland Bank.
Doesn't the Northland Bank belong to the Fatui? Last time we saw Zhongli was before we went to the Golden House. Do you think he doesn't know about the attack on Liyue? Visiting the Fatui at a time like this could only mean more trouble. We had better go and make sure that everything is okay.
You call this cooperation between Harbingers? Cooperation involves communication, you know.
Don't take it to heart, child. Besides, aren't you happy that you got to skip the formalities and bring chaos to the land? I'm sure you must have enjoyed that. Oh, it seems that some of your friends have arrived.
Hey, it's Zhongli and Child.
It's you two. I believe we've met once before. Ah, right. I imagine that it must have been rather hard to forget watching.
Well, If it isn't you two. This is our first time seeing each other since Liyue was nearly wiped off the map. This is certainly a bit awkward, wouldn't you say?
Paimon knew that we should never have trusted a Fatui Harbinger.
Oh, now don't say that. Sure, I may have misled you, but I never had anything against you personally. Besides, I thought we were getting along quite well together, didn't you? Except for that little tussle we had at the end. Nothing personal. We just have different views, that's all. Of course, you may very well hold this against. The real deceivers here are Senora and Zhongli. Curse them for leading me on. So actually, I think...
Stop wasting time, child. There'll be plenty of time to chat once I'm through here. You remember the agreement, Morax. Now, if you would be so kind. The Gnosis, please.
What in the world are you talking about?
The contract is fulfilled. That which thou seeketh is now bestowed on...
How sanctimonious.
What? So you're the Lord of Chio? No, wait. That's an exciting twist and all, but why give the Gnosis to the Fatui?
I do not give it for free. I give it as agreed upon in the contract. For it is a matter...
Yeah, you don't think you went a little bit too far with that whole fake death thing? Everyone was preparing the ceremony for you, and splat! This big dragon falls out of the sky, and all of Liyue goes into an uproar. Talk about a disaster.
Gathering all the forces that had been bubbling behind the scenes, and then stirring them together in a pot that was bound to boil over.
Wait, what?
Perhaps it's best that I explain. As you know, I've dwelt upon this world for more than 6,000 years. It is now 3,700 years ago that I founded Liyue together with the Adepti. Even boulders that can withstand whirlpools will erode with the passing of time. I kept until one drizzly day. As I was strolling along the harbor, I heard a merchant tell one of his work. I stood motionless among the crowds, asking myself, have I already finished my duties?
Oh, Zhongli.
But as I began to consider relinquishing my divine role, I soon discovered that many reasons still remained to not hastily depart. Was Liyue, the city I had dwelt in for so long, already prepared to enter its next age? I decided that a test was needed in order to reveal the answer. So I feigned my own death, and gathered the cast of Child, the Adepti, and the Liyue Qixing to play their roles together on the stage that was Liyue. Indeed I was. The Gnosis, which I had kept for so many years, suddenly seemed to have lost its meaning. That's right, which is why I continued to safeguard the Gnosis until now.
So you mean that if the chaos ever reached the point of no return, you would simply appear?
Of course. And it would have been all too easy for him, too. Just as a child quickly matures after losing their parents, so...
In the end, the resolution to all that has transpired was even more satisfactory than I could have hoped for. Take the Adepti, for instance. Owing to their years of seclusion, they were the least informed. Yet when faced with a crisis, they commendably showed the greatest amount of restraint possible. Not only did they manage to cooperate with the Qixing, but in the end, they even made... Credit is also due to Senora, the emissary dispatched by the Cryo-Archon to fulfill our contract. At my request, she kept everything she knew in strict confidence. This despite the eavesdropping ears of her colleague, Child. This meant I could remain as Zhongli, even having the chance to fulfill the age-old traditions of Liyue in this mortal form. All of these things turned out as I had planned. There is only one thing that I had not anticipated, and that was the conduct of the Liyue Qixing. I had expected them to do no more than the Adepti, to come to the defense of Liyue. But when all was said and done, they seized the opportunity to supplant Liyue's divine protectors, and used the subsequent power vacuum left by my death to quickly gain complete control of Liyue.
Huh? That doesn't sound good at all!
Ha! On the contrary, I think it is excellent. I had always feared that it was too soon for them to take over from me. And it was also that which I longed for the most.
Hey, what about me? Doesn't anyone feel the least bit of remorse for deceiving me? You've practically kept me in the dark!
I think that thanks would be more appropriate. You certainly played no small part in all of this, wreaking havoc and turning the city upside down. The Lord of Geo ought to thank you for your If you hadn't created the pressure of a battle between mortals, Adepti, and a god, the lump of coal resting in the hands of the Geo Archon, Liyue, would never have—
Huh? Just whose side are you on, mocking me like that? Are you itching for a— Hey, haven't you learned the Liyue saying, don't always call it as you see it?
Well then, with the Gnosis in my possession, I have no use for such idle chatter. We should return to Zapoljarny Palace and seek an audience with Her Majesty, the Tsaritsa. Come, child.
Fine. I'll meet you there later. I'm not sharing a boat with the likes of you.
Do as you wish.
Now then, is there anything else you wish to ask me?
Right! As Zhongli always told us, a good trade is a fair trade.
Realistically speaking, there is no such thing.
Huh?
However, I am the god of contracts. For thousands of years, I have made countless contracts. If the deal was of no benefit, then I certainly would not be inclined to agree to it. My agreement with the Cryo Archon will be the last of my contracts as the Geo Archon. My contract to end all contracts. As for the bargaining chip that the Tsaritsa used to balance the scales, uncover that answer for yourself in your future journeys.